I go to Myers High School. We're seniors, and next year we'll be going to college, and with like all the shootings going on at colleges and schools, how do you plan to make it safer for us in school, how we don't have to feel like, you know?
Well, we can't make college campuses perfectly sealed off from the world. And so the violence that we've seen, the tragic violence we've seen on college campuses, is a reflection of the violence that we see in our society at large. Now, school administrators obviously can take all kinds of precautions. I'm sure the president of this university has to think about security. Everybody does. But really the issue is, how do we deal with the gun violence that sometimes is spectacular in a tragic way, like we saw at Virginia Tech, or recently in Northern Illinois University. I was at the funeral where families appeared for incredible young people who had been gunned down in the prime of their life. But there's also quiet violence going on all the time. I mean, right nearby in Philadelphia, the murder rate remains too high. Now, part of solving the problem has to be dealing with guns. And this is a very touchy issue, because I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe in the lawful use of firearms for hunters and sportsmen and people who want to protect their families. I also believe that we should tighten up our background checks to make sure that guns stay out of the hands of criminals and the mentally ill and children, that we tighten up gun show loophole laws that allow people to buy guns who shouldn't. We should have basic tracking of guns that are used in crimes to the gun dealers that they get them from, because some gun dealers are using straw purchasers and selling people to who they shouldn't. So there's some common sense gun laws that we should be able to deal with. It's not just the guns, though, that we've got to deal with. We've also got to deal with the fact that in inner city communities, without early childhood education to close the achievement gap, without better schools, without after-school programs and summer school programs, kids get drawn into a drug culture and a street culture that results in violence. And if we're building new prisons but keeping kids in old schools, that gives them a sense of what we value in our society, and that's got to change. And in terms of some of these shootings that we've seen on college campuses, we've also got to acknowledge that we don't do enough on mental health in this society. So you get, there's still a stigma around mental health. Insurance companies don't reimburse for mental health. And so as a consequence, people are underdiagnosed and they're undertreated. And oftentimes, that ends up resulting in tragedy. If not to other people, at least to those people who are ill. And we see it with our veterans. I mean, we've got post-traumatic stress disorder throughout our veteran populations, and that's part of the reason why they are 7 times more likely to be homeless than non-veterans. And that's why I've said every veteran who comes home should be screened, and they should be getting whatever mental health services they deserve right away, because we should have a zero tolerance for homeless veterans. Zero tolerance for homeless veterans. All right.